Knit, episode 45, number 45. My name is Sara, and this is my little corner on the internet where I talk about my knitting projects. I try to say as much as I can, but then whenever I turn off the camera, I realize there's something I forgot, so we'll see how this goes. So the last video I made was the resolutions video. So far, I would say that half of it is going okay. The other half is been thrown off course just because of we had one more Christmas celebration to do with just this family because we spent Christmas in Portugal. And now there's just bad weather, as in it is freezing, like truly really cold. I think that the lowest this week is going to be minus 16 Celsius, which is around 0 Fahrenheit, I think. It has been snowing for a whole day, so it looks beautiful outside. And we did not have ice before the snow arrived, so it's like the best situation we could have. But this means that I'm not working out as much as I would want, and that I'll be working from home. So I'm not walking to work, I'm not cycling to work, I have not stepped foot outside either. Just staying safe and indoors until we need food. Alright, so today, what am I wearing? I am wearing the plum sweater with tons of modifications that I did not write down. The modifications I did was all the color work. Instead of doing one solid color, I used a bunch of different colors. And then I had never done bubbles before, but I wanted to try them out, so I just added some bubbles around here. And then I created my own chart, but it's hard to read because the stitches are so bulky that it is not very easy to read. But this is supposed to be two Effies. Effie is my dog. She's a Shetland Shepherd. No, a Shetland Sheepdog. And so this is like the little face with her long snout, the floofness of her chest and the floofness of her back legs. When she has a haircut, then you can see how slim her belly is and everything else is just floofed up. So these are just two Effies looking at each other. And I did that, I started a sweater, if I'm not mistaken, 2 years ago when I was in Portugal on vacation for Christmas. And I did these, the dog charts, on the airplane on my way back. And I missed Effie so much that I thought instead of just going from this light brown to the white, that I would just work in some Effies just because I missed her so much. So that's one of the things I'm wearing, and I used a bunch of different yarns. I had gotten that Christmas a series of bulky yarns from Knitpicks. What are they called? They're called Simply Wool Aran, and the colors, they all start with a W, and I think that they are natural colors, so it's not dyed. And they are Wanda, or is it Vanda or Wanda? I don't know. Wallace twist, which is this when you twist the white with the brown being Wallace. Wilhelmina and Winnie. And I forget which color is which. Knitpicks is only available in the US and Canada. But it's just like a 100% wool, Aran, weight. Can't recall how many plies, and looking at the sweater I can't really tell. And at the same time, to make it like slightly pink, which you can tell here for sure. You might not be able to tell in the darker parts much, but because I think this pattern calls for bulky weight yarn, and this is an Aran yarn, Aran weight I think. So what I did was I mixed in a mohair, and that was Sandnes Garn Tynn Silk Mohair in 4244 dark old pink. And if, you know, later on I used that same mohair for other projects, and I did not use any mohair in the effy parts, so that they would pop. Yes, so that's it. I just did some stripes. I had some fun with the colors. I added this just to try it out because I'd never done it before. I realized it's not really my thing. I don't really like making baubles, and I'm okay with how it looks, but I have not yet seen a project that features baubles heavily and just liked it a lot enough to want to knit it. Sometimes I see patterns that they might involve baubles, but they're mixed in with like a lace chart, lace, what do you call it? It's not, the chart is not the right name, and neither is pattern, but like a strip of, you know, some lace or textured work that will also involve baubles, but the baubles are mixed in with the rest. So it's not so heavy on the baubles. It's like the baubles are just part of the texture of it. And there's a few of those I like that are on my list. Now, also, besides this, something I'm wearing that you cannot see are the Merzia socks. Not the Merzia socks, that's completely rubbish. That's not what those are called. They're the Portuguese Sidewalks socks. And that is a pattern made by me that features this Portuguese sidewalk design from my hometown. I used to live in a seaside town with my parents. And on the sidewalks, right in front of the beach, there's this design with a cord that loops some shells and sea stars. And so it's just those designs transposed on the sock. It's very warm for all this cold weather. My feet could not be warmer. Very comfortable, just overall. And the yarn is Retrosaria's Mondim in the white, which is 100. That's the color of it. And the blue, there's actually 3 different shades of blue, and I cannot remember which one it is. So the blues that I think could be is either B570 or 113 or 301. Those are 3 different shades of blue that, looking at the image, I can't tell if they're exactly what I used or not. They're all a little bit different. But just looking at the picture, I can tell. If I had them in the real life, I'd be able to tell, obviously, but not just looking at the picture. And I cannot find the information on my Ravelry, so. And that is it as far as what I'm wearing is concerned. Now, I have a few projects to talk about today. Let's see, I have 3 finished objects, 2 whips, and then I have lots of yarn too. Because it was the holidays, I got some yarn as presents, and I also bought myself some yarn. Unfortunately, I don't have all the yarn with me. So on the next video, I'll have to try to remember to include the other yarn when I do go get it. Because I was supposed to go get it, but then I didn't have time, and now there's all this weather, so next time. Ooh, also, I have not put this in the wall yet, but one more addition to my artwork is this vintage poster that my dad got for me. and it features this lady skiing in a hand-knit sweater and hat that match. And I think it is so beautiful. I've learned how to ski, but because I'm afraid of heights, I don't feel the call as other people do to go to the mountains and ski. But I still think it's beautiful. I love watching it on TV. I might do some cross-country skiing sometime, but it's just not very me, I guess. But moving on. So let me start with these socks I have here that I have not worn simply because I wanted them to be just perfect for showing on this video. And these are my DK vanilla socks. I used my own pattern. Am I speaking out of order? I am not. Okay. My own pattern that's called the Dreamy vanilla socks. And those are made for fingering white yarn, but I don't know if this is actually DK. I don't think it is. I mean, it says it is DK, and when I looked at the hank, it looked like it was, but I don't know if I worked it so that it's very tight. But my gauge for this was the same as my fingering gauge. It is a beautiful yarn. It is, I would say blue-faced Leicester, but I could be wrong. The brand is Spotted Circus. It is blue-faced Leicester, and it's Superwash, which if you've been seeing my videos for a while, you know that it's not my go-to. I don't really like Superwash either to knit with, generally to wear, but they make beautiful colors. And I looked at this as it was in the hank, and I thought to myself how beautiful it was and how much the colors look like different, like forest animals. You can imagine, like, because it has this like cream, a gray, and a brown, you can definitely imagine, like, I don't know, a boar, a squirrel, a rabbit, a hare, deer, moose, etc. And I just loved it. So here they are. The only change I did was I casted on less stitches, but then increased at the same rate. It was really just one more round of increases. And then I continued the ribbing all the way up until I was practically, you know, at the size of a normal calf length sock, so that then I could wear it either like this, or I could fold it in half and wear it like this for an extra cozy cuff. That was my goal. And it was not hard. It was very easy. I did it while I was on vacation. And yeah, I really like them. I really can't wait to wear them. This pattern is a toe-up sock pattern. I prefer toe-up because I can manage my yarn more easily. And I can, instead of starting at the cuff and just trying to get rid of the ribbing, I'll leave the ribbing to the end, and then I know I can do more of it if I want to, if I have enough yarn, but also because it is the last thing, I can just use it as a sort of zen way of finishing a project where I can just relax and watch a 3-hour movie and just keep ribbing. Instead of it being the first thing you have to go through. That is one of my least favorite things when working a sock. The other least favorite thing is just working a heel, because I have to pay attention to what I'm doing, basically. But it's not something that I feel like I have to just be done with and move on. So that allows me to just work on longer socks too, because I don't want to just be done with it and make them shorties just because I want to just move on to the next part, you know. So that's that for that. I haven't worn them yet, so I can't talk about how the yarn wears, but to knit with, it was pretty easy. Next is my weekend walking mitts, and those are, looking at my notes, they're by Dianna, Walla. I don't know if it's Walla or if it's Walls, and I typed it wrong on my laptop. It might be Walla though. I used Camellia Fiber Company's Yak yarn, and I used a dark color. I used a dark chocolate color. This is all, it starts with a little bit of ribbing down here. Then it's all cables. This is the wristwatch area where your wrist is. And then you can choose to wear them like fingerless like this, or fingerless with barely any fingers showing. I have worn these a lot since I started them and finished them while I was on vacation. So I used them while I was on vacation, but also I've used them since I got here. I've used them to go on jogs and such, and I really like them. The yarn is amazing. It is super cozy. I wish I knew the composition of it, because I know it's not 100% yak. It is DK though, which makes it to just, you know, a thicker fabric overall, plus with the cables. So it makes a really, really nice and cozy mitt. I really like these. They're just, the cable pattern is beautiful. It's really easy to follow. And I think this is actually the first time that I'm able to read my cables, because I've knitted with cables before, but I've always had a hard time figuring out, did I just do a cable last round or was it the round before that? But now I'm able to read them. And they both use similar charts. They're just, I think, a difference at the beginning and then another one at the end to differentiate the right and the left mitten. And because it doesn't split right down the middle, you can tell that the thumb indicates whether it is a right mitten or a left mitten, because it's closer to the flatter side that doesn't have cables. I think the design was very well written. It fits perfectly in a very, what do you call it? Anthro something, I think. It's when design is influenced by the human body. Is it anthropology? Maybe. But yeah, it's amazing. It's so cozy. It's so warm. It's great. I'm going to tie up my hair because the heat from the house is coming all the way to the top floor. Now I'm starting to feel a little warm. Okay. A little silly. Yes, but really highly recommend the yarn. You can tell the cables, even though this is the dark chocolate color, which I think is the darkest color, but you can really still tell the cables. And that's, I think, partially because this yak yarn has a little bit of silk in it, and the silk just gives it a sheen that really makes those cables pop. It has something else, which might be merino, but or alpaca. I can't remember for sure. But really, really nice soft yarn. And good pattern. I like the pattern. The cables also, they come in a charted version and a written down version. I don't go with the written down version. I like to look at the charts, and I don't need to look at what things mean in the chart anymore. I've just looked at so many charts that unless it's unusual symbol, I know what they want. So I look at charts. Find them easier to read than the text itself. And then we have the Versatile Baby Vest. Now this is a test knit. It is by Sandra Magalhães. Ah, look, it's folded up. Very beautiful. It is the size for a year to year and a half. For, I guess, an infant, I guess that would be considered an infant by 1.5 years old. And it is a little vest. Plain vest, round yoke, knitted bottom up. This one was knitted in the round. The pattern gives you lots of options, and it's so easy to read with lots of pictures showing, for example, measure from here to here, or this is where you pick up your stitches, etc., etc. So lots of diagrams to follow if you find that something like that makes it easier. So I don't know if I said this already, but the pattern is by Sandra Magalhães. And it has two options for building methodology. So one is knitted flat, the other one is knitted in the round. I prefer knitted in the round, so that's what I did. Then it comes with 3 choices, which are solid, which is what I did. It has 1 color. It has a striped version, and then a version that comes with colorwork charts if you want to do that too. Now, I made this version, and this is sport weight, but you can knit this pattern with sport or DK. I knitted this version, the solid version, because I want to try my hand at embroidery on wool. Using some scraps that I have, I'd like to try out something like that. And I have this idea, because my name is Coelho, and that means rabbit. I would like to have a little scene with a rabbit, some flowers or some leaves or something. And yes, so I bought some embroidery paper, the kind that once you put it in water, it just disappears. And when I blocked this yarn, which is a Lang yarn, it did not leave any traces of green behind, which is great. So it should not destroy any embroidery work by bleeding. The yarn is Alpaca Soxx 6-ply sport weight. And their colors are only in numbers. I'll write it below, but I think they only have 1 shade of green. So this is it. It's very pretty. The green itself is a little bluish, which is not my favorite, but then there are these like more golden fibers which warm the green. I hope you can see that. And this yarn was very easy to knit with. I did not have problems with it splitting or anything like that. And it is so warm. I like just holding it or putting my hand inside of it. I can feel how warm it is. So I'm glad I chose a vest, because a vest you can wear it basically 3 times around the year, fall, winter, and spring. In the summer it would be impossible to wear it here, but I'm just hoping it will be for a future child one day. And now that I know the designer, I've decided I want to knit more of her patterns, because again, they're so easy to knit. And because I finished on time, I should have access to another pattern of hers that I pick. And I picked, basically it's a diaper cover. Bloomers, I think they're called. Yeah, but yes, so very, very cute, very soft. I really like this. It will look adorable or on a boy or a girl. Very, very happy with it. And I just can't stop touching it. Oh, yes. Yeah, so there it is. So I don't consider this project to be finalized yet, just because I want to work on the embroidery as well. But gosh, I am so pleased with it. So pleased with it. All these 3 FOs, I'm just very, very happy with them. This one I've worn several times. The Soxx, I'm gonna wear them this week now that I'm finishing up the video. And this vest is just adorable. It's just ridiculous. So cute. Folding it again. Yeah. Now I can tell you about 2 knits. One, just an update on my lap blanket. I am already halfway through the colorwork section, and then I only have to finish the second half and work on the border. It's quite large. The yarn for this is it's a Shetland red, and this is the end of the skein. And that is Jameson & Smith 2-ply jumper weight. The color is 9113. And then this is just an example of one of the other colors I'm using for the colorwork. So I'm using red all the way through. The border will also be in red. But then I have all these mini skeins. I'm using 14 grams overall, but the mini skeins were of 20 grams. And they are a Camellia Fiber Company from an advent calendar from 2 years ago, I guess. Not 2023, but 2022. And the theme was the Nutcracker. So they're all related to the Nutcracker. They have a gray for the Rat King, and then just a bunch of pinks and greenish blues that represent different characters and different parts of the ballet. This is Superwash, fingering, and 100% Superwash merino. All the skins are a little different. This one is the mildest one that I'm using for the center part, and it has, probably couldn't see it before, but it has these darker pink speckles every now and then. And then I'm just gonna, I finished 7 grams of this one, I'll move on to the other one, and so on. Yes, so that is going well, and I think that's what I'm going to work on this evening too. This is not a pattern that's available for everyone to knit. I created this blanket using the Out of Sorts colorwork chart. And then I'm going to add the border with a little bit of lace too. And then the other project, now this is for doing these mittens. This is not the FO. This is just what I did in the past, but it's the same pattern, same brand. This was Malabrigo Rasta. I forget the colorway. And now I did these last year, and this year, well, last year, it was 2022, but for the winter of 22-23. And last weekend and this weekend, I'm teaching a workshop on how to do those mittens. So we get together and we do one mitten from beginning to end. and then everyone can just do the other one at home because they've already learned all the tips and tricks and all the different stitches, and we've learned to read the pattern too. So I am using, once again, Malabrigo, but this is Caracol. The colorway is Chameleon. Now I've wanted to use Caracol for a really, really long time, but it's hard to find. I've only seen it in stores once, and that was the time that I bought it, which was 2 months ago, I think. And the reason I like it is because it has this black line that goes around the wool itself, and it reminds me of glasswork in churches and such. I forget what that is called, but here. Stained glass, that's what it's called. So I did a whole, I worked on a whole mitten, and now the second mitten, and it's really warm. The second mitten, I am at the point where you separate for the thumb, and that's where the class stopped. So I'll just pick it up next Saturday and finish it then. Now there is one thing about this yarn, which is it's very purple. Now it looks kind of black looking from a distance, but it has lots of like purple going on, and I don't like purple at all. But it makes the blues really pop, and that I like. I look at this and I don't see the purple, I see what pops, and what pops to me is the fuchsias, like stuff like that, and the blues, and that I love. So by the next time we talk, I'll be done with these. And I think that's it for whips. I have one more, but I'm not going to talk about it today because I don't have it with me, and I have not knit in it. Well, I have 2 more, but I have not worked in them for a really long time now, like a month and a half at least. So next time when I'm done with these things. Now what I do have is a ton of yarn. Now I won't really go, I'll just let you know how I acquired the yarn, and I'll show you the yarn and tell you the quantities and the projects I'm thinking about doing with them. But that's it. I won't, I think, go very much into it. All right, so let me start with this one. This is Knit Picks Wool of the Andes. The color is Cilantro Heather. This is the worsted weight. And this is for a vest. I already had a vest in mind. I have all the other skeins, but I wanted to knit it a little longer. So I figure I'm gonna have to get another skein, so I did. So that's one. 2, and you're probably going to recognize this, but for the Xiao Mai, I wanted to do the sleeves longer. I want them to be much longer than what the pattern shows. I want them to be full length sleeves. For that, I needed more of this main color, which is these 2 knit together are the main color. And so my mother-in-law gifted these to me so that I can keep doing it, because it would have probably taken me a while to buy the yarn, because I do that sometimes. Sometimes I only need to like buy one more skein, and now this other skein that I got one more, that's like $3. These 2 put together are 10 times that. So I'm very glad she got this for me, because as soon as I'm done with that mitten, I am going to go back and I'm going to finish that card, and it's going to be the next thing on my list. Then a friend of mine gifted, and those, well, I guess I've talked about those a lot, so I'm not going to talk more about that yarn, but so moving on to this. This is Full Moon Fibers, and the colorway is Into the Forest. It is, let's see, 100% Peruvian Highland wool, non-superwash. And what she did is, this was for a Secret Santa. And so we share like what colors we like, what colors we don't like. So I gave her this chart that has a ton of colors in it. And I just crossed out the ones I liked the least. But it ended up being a lot of greens, some blues, and some browns and yellows. And so she gave me this, which has literally every color. Practically every color. So this is going to be a pair of socks. That's for sure, especially non-superwash. And she gave me this mini skein to go with it. This is Fireweed Fiber Company. Fiber Company. And it's hand-dyed in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And it's called Sweet Pea Sock. The colorway being Put the Star on It. This is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. And I'll be using this probably to make a long cuff. It's really, really going to pop against this green. And this is just a color that I love, this like golden yellow, but that is not so gold as it to be confused with ochre. Very pretty. Putting that back. Then, speaking of socks, when I went to Amsterdam, I went to Stephen and Penelope. Now, really, I would say that 98% of what they sell is superwash, which, as I've said before, is just not my vibe. But I found this in a little corner of the store. It's called Holst Garn, and it's Danish. It is 100% wool. I don't have any reason to believe that it is superwash, so I don't think it is. It is 50 grams, and it's a very light fingering to apply. It's like, it's this. That's what that is. It's a mix between this darker color and that lighter color. And I thought that was beautiful. And I wanted, like, because of the yarns that they sell in that store are all these like crazy colors, like mostly neons, I wanted to get myself a neon, but I did not want to be superwash. So what I did was I got this crazy skein. The colorway is Venice Beach. The yarn is Prue Punk Rock Unicorn. And this is just a mohair and silk. And I think I'm going to use those two together to create a ridiculously bright pink and yellow sock. Now, I've never heard of many people using mohair and silk, but Inga from Knitting Traditions has. And she doesn't knit with superwash much. She also prefers more woolly wools. And what she does is, because of the qualities of the mohair and the silk, the strength of the silk, and just the qualities of mohair that prevent pilling, she swears by that, like something like this, to be a good mix for socks. So I want to try it. It will be extremely warm socks, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think other than one other whip that I have, maybe this will be my next sock yarn, just because I'm so curious to see what it will end up looking like, because it is so colorful, and this is just like beautiful classic pink. So I'm very curious for that. I think I'll do this, and then the pattern after that will probably be the plain with this yarn here. And I might not use any mohair with it. I might just let it be because it already has all those colors. So I might just keep it that way. Then, just to stay on the sock groove, I was gifted this beautiful, beautiful yarn by my friend Jane Olsen. And this is Chelsea Lex, hand dyed, from New Jersey yarn. It is, I'm quite sure that this is Superwash. It is an 80-20, so 20% is nylon, 80% is the wool. The color is Mary. And this, I think I will cast it on next December. I think these will be my Christmas socks. It is a Christmas yarn. My friend Jane gave it to me to cast on Boxing Day, the 26th of December. But I think that I would prefer to knit it as a lead-in to Christmas, to then wear them on Christmas Day, Christmas week. So I think I might do that instead. Obviously I did not cast them on 26. I actually did not take them with me because I was already taking 3 or 4 other projects. But I think it would just really make me feel like Christmas is coming, just because of these amazing colors. There's a little bit of everything that could be related to the holidays. Yeah, so I think that's what I'll do. I think I'll use those in December. Now, to go back to my trip to Amsterdam and to one of my, what is it called? Goals for 2024, resolutions. I went to another store. Now, Stephen and Penelope were extremely busy. They had like maybe 15 people inside this tiny store. I went to this other, I guess, less well-known store called Halfstap. I always make a mistake. I should look it up. I'll look it up and put it on the screen, I think. And I found this beautiful yarn. That store was like, it only had the person that worked there. It was a beautiful store filled with beautiful woolly wools. It is also downtown, so if you're there, it's also easy to visit. And this is by J.C. Rennie and Company, made in Milledon Mill, Scotland, established in 1798. This is called a super soft 4-ply. It's 100% wool. Each ball is 50 grams. The color is Bondi Blue. This is going to be for a vest. I looked at it and I thought I'd love to make a sweater in this, but then I realized how many skeins I'd have to buy, how many skeins I'd have to carry around with me, and I decided I would only get enough for a vest. But it is beautiful. I think this is gonna look great on me. We'll see. But I love this blue. It really just pops. So, looking forward to that. Then, while I was in Portugal, another secret Santa of mine, because I had two secret Santas this year, got me 2 skeins of this yarn. This is from Portuguese sheep in Serra da Estrela. The color is, this is probably a naturally dyed yarn. It did not come with a tag, so I had to go to the website to find out more about it. I had a postcard that came with it. And this is, so if you want to check it out, they have a website here at the bottom. I don't know if you can read that. It's saberfazer.org. Saberfazer like that. .org. And if you ever are in Portugal, you can go and they have workshops on how to do all sorts of things like shearing sheep or I forget what it is called when you turn wool into a skein. And I think also they have about maybe natural dyeing. They just have lots of different workshops to do with yarn. And so my friend gave me 2 skeins of these. I think I'm going to use those because this is, looking at this, I'd say this is a DK. Looking at those, it's not enough to make an outfit like a top or anything like that. But I think I will use these to make a shawl, just a plain shawl with other colors. So I have like maybe yellow and white and blue. I don't know, I'll have to see what I have available, but that's my idea for those. And then I think we're ending up with something else that my mother-in-law gifted to me. 2 years ago, Joseph's grandmother went to New York. She went to Pearl Soho and she got me a few skeins, including 2 linen quills, these exact colors, 1 of each. And I have not knitted with them because each one of these is 1 skein of fingering, and there is a very limited amount of things I can do with just 1 skein. So my sweet mother-in-law went and she bought these 2, which are the same colors, so that ideally I can use with the 2 other skeins that I have. Ideally they won't be very different. And they gifted her with this one. So I think that for at least 1 of them, I will use that together to make the ribbing, probably. And then I'll use just the 2 others to make a 1 color top. Those are my thoughts. Now, linen quill is something I've never used before, but I've been really curious about using. Because it is sort of a light, like in temperature, it's like a cooler yarn, and that's because it has linen as well. It's 50% fine Highland wool, 35% alpaca, and 15% linen. It's Pearl Soho, linen quill is the name of it. It's a very well-known yarn, I just haven't used it before. And I have another sweater I'm considering doing for the holidays, another design that I would come up with, and that uses this amazing Camellia Fiber Company yarn called Sylvan Fingering. It is so soft. This is 70% alpaca, 20% silk, 10% cashmere. This is like luxurious. It is probably like, if not the softest yarn, then maybe the 2nd or 3rd softest yarn I've ever worked with. It is beautiful. It is not superwash. And I really want to make a holiday sweater with it. So she gifted this to me, and she also gifted to me a Surrey, same colorway, but the Surrey version. I have the Mohair version, so I am considering switching the Surrey for the Mohair for the sweater. But we'll see how easy that will be because it was bought from a store and not directly from the designer. So I don't know how easy that will be. But so much to do, so many amazing projects to work with. I am so almost overwhelmed, but also very excited about everything that's to come this year, all the different projects that I'm going to be working on. Yes, I am very, very happy with all the things. Unfortunately, the daylight has left. I decided to film today because I had this amazing light because the sun was, I guess it was clouded, so there was no direct sunlight, but the snow reflected the sunlight, so I ended up with beautiful sunlight in here. And right now I'm only down to electrical light. Anyway, I hope that you guys like this video. I would like to know what sort of projects you're working on. Have you ever tried any of these yarns that I'm about to use this year, I guess? So just let me know. If you're going through this weather, then enjoy it, but stay safe. If not, then stay safe, but I guess enjoy whatever weather you have. Every cloud has a silver lining, so even if it's raining, something will come of it. At least it's less likely to have a drought. So anyway, doesn't matter. I'm just rambling now. All right, so I will see you in 2-ish weeks. Bye.